The best way to get your point across a lot of times is basically to give a usually or not usually is giving a visual reference or example. So today I want to kind of do that with a subject that I've been talking about for a little while now. And this is not trying to come at anybody in particular, which I know some people may think that, or some people may feel that way, but it really is not. It's to prove a point that I've been talking about, or to make my point of what I've been talking about for a very long time before all this back and forth comparison started within the community about Batman games and Spider-Man games and so forth. So what I'm gonna do is to keep it within the same range and realistic and fair. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do the comparisons between the three games in this case that I have here today, which is Batman Arkham City, which was the last released Batman game for last generation, Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man, which was the last game released in last generation, and Captain America, which was released last generation as well on the 360 parameter and the PS3 parameter. I don't want to do a video for this based off the new Batman game that came out earlier in this generation, or the new Spider-Man game, obviously, because it's not out, and the Batman game is the only one that really is a next generation superhero game. But as we know, Batman kind of set the standard for high quality superhero games last generation. Even though I don't believe and feel that it hasn't been tried by other companies. I think they have tried. It's just some companies obviously outweigh others with money. So they have more money to dispose and put towards certain properties. In this case, Warner Brother, I think is very actively involved with development and production as far as money goes with the games for Batman. So what I'm going to talk about is my comparisons of the production value of what I think they all deliver, the combat of what I feel are superior and not superior and why, with the examples hopefully, and the reasoning why they're so similar and they fed off each other, even though a lot of people probably only gave the time of day to the Batman series because it's the big game that everybody talked about at that time, or the big series, if you will. And as you see here, here's my hand. I'm going to do it in real time to show you guys, instead of capturing it on an Elgato or a computer, that it's no bullshit foul play. It's all in real time. What I'm going to show you on these games, respectively, on 360. So we'll start here with the Batman Arkham, as you see, which is what you see on the screen right now. And again, I picked Batman Arkham and not City because it was the last game released last gen, towards the end of the generation. I have here Captain America, which I keep telling people that although the production value, which was published by Sega, and Marvel was the one that was involved with Sega as well, as far as funding, that although that the production value may not be as good for something like, or high for something as for Captain America, that the combat system is still very good, and I feel, in my opinion, a lot more dynamic than Batman because it utilizes more buttons, you feel more in control, and things like that, to give you guys an example. And of course, the Amazing Spider-Man. Why I say Amazing Spider-Man is because, and not Amazing Spider-Man 2, because although Amazing Spider-Man 2 is a cross-generational game, meaning it was just ported to the 360, from 360 to the Xbox One and PS4, for example, it was developed originally based off the parameters of a 360 and a PS3. So it's not real next gen, even though the one for Xbox One has better, obviously, performance, like loading, or whether it's frame rates, or whether it's graphical resolution. So I'm trying to keep it fair. I'm going to do them all off and based off their versions of the 360. So we'll start off. Here we go. Here's the menu. Here's the menu. You can. I'm gonna press start, and so as you guys can see right here, I'm gonna turn off the flashlight for the moment. This is how the intro goes, and without a doubt, all Batman games from last generation, from City and Asylum to Origins, all had very high production value. So the presentation is second to none. It's very high quality. It's phenomenal, and you can tell that it's not cheap. The presentation is like the beginning of what you would see in a movie. Even the orchestrated music is very high quality. So this is how Origin starts. But I keep arguing with a lot of different people. Most of the time, that my problem with Batman is that it's supposed to be grounded more on reality, even though he is a superhero. And even though his villains are supposed to be kind of outrageous, they're all based off real people with realistic gadgets that give him powers to do certain things. Same thing like Batman when he fights these villains and he fights the characters. His powers is basically based off how much gadgets he can build with the money that he has, and his suit, obviously, the way how he builds it and constructs it. But when you're fighting in the game, there are certain things that I feel are too unrealistic. So although the gameplay of Batman is super smooth, the gameplay for me feels doesn't feel like menacing. Like, even though he smashes people into things, but I'd rather him feel more like you feel the impact of what you're doing, and more in a more edgy and like hardcore way. Like when he does the punches, maybe they can show him break somebody's jaw or somebody's arm. So here, graphically, as you can see, very high quality. And that they like kind of like they do with Mortal Kombat. Instead of doing certain things that's kind of fake, like I feel he leaps way too far from each other just by jumping from one side to another with certain characters. And when he does like some of his moves, he almost acts like he's like some type of like anime character, like from either Fist of the North Star or from, let's say, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which I find really fake. Plus here you see that he's fighting really grounded, yes, but you don't see like any blood or any like broken limbs, which I wish they kind of showed that. Not to say that the combat's bad, it's not. It's really good. It's very smooth. Yes, it is indeed. But I think sometimes it's too fantastical, and it makes it kind of fake because Spider-Man is not really a villain with superpowers. So let me see if I can go into a combat section and skip this real quick. Okay guys, look, I'm going to show you one example of what I'm talking about. Look. Like that. You see when he does... Let me see if you can keep one character up and do it to one character. You see that? When he does those quick punches that he does it super fast. That's an example of something that I feel is kind of really fake and exaggerated, and it doesn't feel realistic and grounded. And I know people look at it as nitpicking, but it's part of the combat, which is very important to the game, right? Because it's a beat 'em up, essentially stealth action game. So for me, I think it's a fair criticism that I can say about it. When you're fighting, I think here now you fight some other people. So there's a bunch of guys here. There's Black Mask. So production value, as we already discussed, on all the Batman games are really, really second to none. The money is there, the presentation is there, the acting of the voiceovers there, the writing is there. I really, really like how they approach it, and they've done it with a lot of the Batman games. So here's one of these cool moments where you go into the vent, tear from one side to another, walking through, then he comes on the other side. So right here when he's fighting, you see that right there? Like he goes, and he could go faster than that. And then leaps. When he's right there fighting on one side, the character will be really far. He could just jump to another character and leap over, which I find extremely exaggerated and fake as well. I don't know if my son can do it right now, but let me pause until he gets to another section. Okay, guys, so I'm going to try to see if my son can help me to demonstrate the other part I'm talking about. It's more open area, and as you see how he just kind of exaggeratedly goes from one to another, and the other guy could be like severely far away from him, and he just gets to him like he's almost gliding to him. He's not using his gadgets, he's just doing an abnormal jump or leap over when he does the flips to go from one to another too. It's another thing. He can go there to all the way to the other guy. Do the flip to the other guy. See? All the way over there. See how he does that? That for me is too exaggerated, like that right there. And it doesn't feel natural. It feels too fake. And remember, Batman doesn't have superpowers. To point out the flaws, or some of the flaws that bother me with the combat. That's what I was trying to be, or been so expressive about. Plus, two more things that is different from this Batman game compared to, like, let's say Spiderman, for example, and Captain America, is that the games all tend to be all in nighttime, or in dark areas, or enclosed areas, in the dark, that has like a lot of lighting effects, which looks cool, but it's not dynamic enough, like as far as having daytime also. But it's because Batman is more edgier and grittier, and plus the world and the NPCs in the world, there's not a lot of people and living people going on in the city, as you can see. Like, it doesn't feel alive with people and stuff like that, like you'll see in Spider-Man. Look, he's getting shot by guns, although his suit I know protects him, but it's a bunch of them all back to back, and he's just going. That slide you did is a perfect example. You see how he just goes like that? That's, for me, it's what bothers me. So I'm gonna end the section here with Batman, and then because I already kind of talked about it, and shout outs to Dealer because he did a nice video on the Batman and production value versus the new Spider-Man production value, and it's really cool. Check it out. It was a really well done, and he was right about that with the day and night cycles. The same way he was right about the not having a lot of people around in the city. And it's almost like everybody's hiding and scared. So I'm gonna go now into the next game. Okay, guys, here we go. We're gonna go on to the next game. As you see in front of me here, we have Amazing Spider-Man 1 on 360. This is the intro before you go into the game and press start. So we're gonna go right into it, and again, I'm gonna show you if kind of compare and contrast for what I show y'all with Batman. And we'll start off with if the game has production value, which I feel it does. I feel it has really good production value. Maybe not as good as Batman, but very close to the Batman game. So we'll get into it right now. We'll just press new game. Human. I'm putting it on hero here.
Peter, what are you doing here? I'm here to get you out of this asylum. You put me here. And a good reason.
So as you can see,
I know, it's crazy. The time's running out, Connors.
I do feel that this game has good voice acting.
Something really bad.
The music is pretty Spider-Man-esque. It feels a lot like what we've seen in Spider-Man movies. This is how the game begins.
Hey there.
It goes right into,
Thanks for coming with me, Pete. You're brave.
as you see here, it goes right into
I'm supposed to be here after
the story.
Hope it's better than the first time I snuck in. That was not fun.
Has very good lighting as well,
We're investigating.
and the character models look really good as well.
Stuff that Dr. Smythe's trying to get rid of. He's not a bad guy, you know? He wants to turn this company around.
That's what the video said. So, what exactly is rotten in the state of Oscorp?
I think they're continuing Dr. Connor's work. Cross-species experiments. Come on.
Oh, well now, like...
See how she said cross species? This beginning is very reminiscent of the Batman game
Oscorp has
in Asylum when he
resources.
is walking in the prison with the Joker,
That's why I came back.
and they start to show the villains that are already entrapped within the prison. When he's speaking to,
Okay.
I think it's Commissioner Gordon, or Lieutenant Gordon, Sergeant Gordon at the time. This is showing you the inside of Oscorp, where they're doing experiments and stuff like that.
Out here, we'll never get in.
It's got a nice reflection there in the doors, you see.
Keep your head down.
Under the direction of Dr. Alistair Smythe.
This is Mary Jane, and Peter Parker obviously worked for the Daily Bugle, so he's trying to do a story based on what Oscorp is doing.
I can't believe we get to play with this stuff every day.
And you see it in the first person perspective because it's like you're supposed to be seeing it from Peter's eyes.
Whoa, what is that?
So here you go, here's a scene that they show the Rhino, like when they show Killer Croc coming up the elevator. So he sees and realizes that Peter's Spider-Man, so he tries to attack.
You were the one that had to say, how can you still move like that?
Only difference, his design is not mechanical.
Is everyone okay?
His design is, he's actually a human being that
Yeah.
is mutated into like a Rhino man.
Hey, you kids are in big trouble. What are you doing here?
It's okay, it's okay. They're with me. What are you doing here, Gwen? You know you're not supposed to be here after hours. Especially with a guest.
Dr. Smythe, I'm so sorry. This is my friend, Peter Parker.
Peter Parker. Heard about you. I'm hearing a lot about you tonight. So, why are you here? I'm totally to play Doc.
And of course, the dialogue is going to be a little bit more campy and kind of slapstick because, Peter's character is a lot different than, obviously, Bruce Wayne and Batman himself.
Right? Funny finding you here now as I waste my time trying to dispose of these cross species.
So this is a cross species? You promised me that all of Connor's work was over.
And this is just the introductional cutscene. It's like at least 15 to 20 minutes long, which shows that the production value with this cinematic cutscene is very high, because that's when they do that. Usually with games that are high production value, you have really high and long winded cutscenes within the game, during the game and when you first started and the end of the game. Now you're going to see another villain, which is, I think it's Ratman.
Another one of these cross species?
They call them cross species in the game.
The lizard almost destroyed the city. What rational mind would continue to create these things?
Changing the ethics of a large corporation takes time. Now, some scientists argue that these...
So you see, she spoke about the lizard because it's referencing the Amazing Spider-Man movie, the second one. This is supposed to be the events that took place after Amazing Spider-Man 2, the movie, with Andrew Garfield.
Out of mind.
Has this thing eaten today?
It always.
And that is probably the only type of connection, and besides this, also his costume, that it has to the actual movies themselves.
Hence the containment units.
Because a lot of people have that misconception. They think that the games are based off the movies when they're not.
Disease. Any direct contact with it leads to infection. Infection leads to death. Or becoming a cross species yourself. I want to keep you human, Parker. Let's keep moving.
Is there a cure?
Well, for these things, no. They were never human to begin with. They were born in a petri dish. For the poor humans it infects. Unfortunately not. Attempts to develop an antidote have been unsuccessful. I don't want to seem cruel, but you have to understand, that thing is pure vermin. Creatures like this brought Europe to its knees in the plague.
There's another hand shot to show you what he looks like and the attacks.
I think he likes me.
That's strange.
They all can detect that Spider-Man has some type of a spider chemical imbalance within inside of him from an animal, because these are all animal villains.
Unpredictable. I much prefer things I can control.
Going down the elevator.
Unpredictable, huh? What is that? An iguana? This has to be the strangest office tour I've ever been on.
Don't worry, Parker.
As you see there, you see the iguana right here.
Did you see it? Excuse me, Dr. Smith.
And then now in here, you're going to see
No, I don't have time for this. Gwen, maybe it's a good thing you're here. You could deal with
and the character models are really soft
punishment.
and have nice shaders and textures on
Go
them.
with him and catch up
I
with
don't
us
think
when
it'll
you're
come in as good through the phone,
Doctor,
but
I think I'll escort her.
it's there, trust me. That's one of the reasons why I really want this game to go backwards compat, so you could actually take better capture of it in real time on the Xbox One.
It's an order, Miss Stacy.
Sure, Dr. Smythe. Come on, Pete.
So this here is their interpretation of Scorpion.
Is that... You gotta be kidding me. That's taking things a little far, isn't it?
It's a terrible legacy, but Dr. Smythe says we're putting it in the past. I believe him.
It's Spider-Man, he's going crazy.
I didn't do anything.
Peter, I think it senses your blood. It knows.
It's clearly reacting to something. I've never. Oh my god! It's breaking the glass!
I shouldn't have brought you here.
So I think my first discussion and point of it having a good production value pretty much shows with what you're seeing right here on camera. So I'm going to kind of take a quick pause, and then we'll go into the gameplay. So here we go. He's going to jump into the gameplay real soon. Everything's on shutdown mode. The villains and creatures are escaping. They're attacking the people. They're killing the people.
Can't be happening.
Now, what I want to point out is that with Spider-Man, you can get away with a lot more things in the combat, because Spider-Man really does have superpowers. He is a superhero with powers embedded in his blood and in him. Unlike Batman, that is just, they show him putting on the mask. He has a suit underneath. Now he's going to get out and escape. And it kind of pans out when he sees him. And now you can take control in real time of what's going on. And it's very cinematic, this one as well. So the first thing you're going to do here is try to get her to safety.
Gwen, you okay?
Fine, thanks. Get me to the quarantine area.
And you see stuff going on at all times.
These robots look like they want to eat me for lunch.
They've been programmed to defend us against cross species, which I guess you technically are. So, yeah, watch out, Pete. Oh my God! Did you see that? Maybe you can web swing across.
If these things get out of Boston.
I don't want to think about what ifs right now.
The cool thing is that it's not when you're doing these moments, it's not cute quick time events, it's actually you controlling it. So now we're going to go here into the combat system, as you see down there. Now you're going to notice immediately that when you play the combat systems, it's not all dedicated on just one button. attack, you see, and it tells you the A, Y is the dash. Then you combine them together, and you do your heavy attacks and you do your you see that? The RB is for web rush or web rush mode. Trying to figure out where to go right now. I believe you have to pick her up. Go get her, pick her up. See? It's all stuff that you're controlling at all times as well. Here's some of the villains going after the people.
Find another way.
Right. Oscorp security system. Quarantine's on the other side. Stay here, Gwen.
Well, now he's gonna do things like going in the vent, kind of like Spider-Man did. I mean, Batman did, but when he just basically, no, you gotta press there. You gotta open the door. Right. And when you do it right there, just let it go. Boom. Drop. Now you shoot the vents. See, so it's very interactive when you're playing it indoors and outdoors. Because when you go outdoors, it turns open world as well. It doesn't have a stealth element, but you do go in through shafts and things like that. Open it up. So I'm going to take another quick pause until we get further in with the combat. So, for sake of the video, or the longevity of the video. Here, wait, right before I pause, see? He's going in the shafts. Directly from what, you saw with, Batman. Here's a combat moment. Again, he's fighting these androids. And look at how fluid he moves. Spider senses let you know when you're getting attacked from behind. Very cinematic right there. And it's very fluid, it's more aerodynamic. It doesn't feel constricted and stiff the way that Batman feels. And it's supposed to be that way because Batman is different than he is. He's more aerodynamic and Batman's more, grounded, like I said, in reality, and more of a brawler.
I need to get the others before this really gets out of hand.
Nice panoramic shots. They show close-up shots also.
Dr. Smythe will have some answers.
So I'll be right back.
I'll try, but Gwen, I have to...
So here we have an opening scroll shot when you finally go outside to the open world aspect and portion of the game. There he does his famous swan drop.
Peter?
Gwen, you okay?
I don't know.
But you see the details in the city is pretty vibrant. There's a lot of things going on.
The infection stay outside.
I know someone who can help.
Be careful, Pete. Dr. Smythe is programming his robots to capture all cross species. That may include you.
The music too, I think, is pretty well done as well.
What is that?
A cell phone is basically what gives you the information of where you gotta go.
I think I'm gonna love this phone.
As you can see how nice the city landscape looks. Reflections look pretty good. So I feel like this game has very good production value. And of course, it's based off the 360 parameter. I can't stress that enough. Just like the Batman games. Very nice animation as well. I don't think it's bad at all. Here you go. You're gonna have your first encounter. Now they're showing you, like if you're seeing a reporter through a newspaper TV broadcast. And there you go. Cinematic moments that you get here. It did a slowdown, deliberate. It wasn't that the frame rates dropped or anything. It's a nice smoke effect. So this is basically the first thing you're fighting in this game, and look how big this boss battle is. But people claim that this doesn't have high production value, or feel that it doesn't have, or believe that it doesn't have high production value. And this is the first thing you're doing, is fighting something bigger than these buildings. And this is you controlling it at all times. It's not just quick time event. You have to swing, get to the area, land, and then press the button to hit what you need to hit. See, web strikes. Boom. Right. Look at that. Very nice. Smooth, flawless animation. Very good camera work. Lower the volume a little bit. Look at that. Very, very smooth and seamless transitioning. You see there? There you go, really nice. So as you can see, it definitely has a smoother combat, and he can get away with a lot of crazier things because he has superpowers, obviously. So now you have to shoot down, I believe, areas in his legs. Camera work is really well done. I have to shoot, I believe, his legs. I have my son assisting me. Oh, he has to do the web strike in his front of him. That's what it is, okay. When he's not shooting. There you go. Boom, boom. So you have kind of a quick time event, but you do dodging as well. Very cool moment. So it's kind of like a giant spider. He just took out one of his eyes. There you go. And let's keep in mind again, like I said, this is your very first encounter in the game. And there's a lot of other moments within the game that are also like this, that complement the game very well. He's got to keep shooting him on the ground while you're walking. Dodge that. Nice. You see he's taking out each leg one by one. Boom. And now you go to him and finish him off. Uh-oh. It's a missile, right? He's opening his mouth. for the missile to go right into his mouth. There you go. So, I mean, I think that speaks for itself. That shows right there that in order to get that accomplished in this type of game, you have to have a good high production value. Again, I'm not saying it's at the same quality as Batman, but I think it's damn near close. And I want to show it with the evidence again right here in front of you guys in real time. So I'm going to stop here, and then we'll go into the next game, and I'll talk about the things I like from that one in comparison and contrast to the two I already showed you, and then we'll end it with that game. We'll press start to see where it goes from here.
Biologists are responsible. Those vultures. I wonder if Michael Morbius had the charge. Nice enough guy, but no one else.
He referenced Morbius in the game, which anyone that's a Spider-Man fan knows that's the kind of vampiric type villain. And this is basically Lizard Man in human form when he took his hand off. So again, it's not a movie-based game, but it's like the continuation, like if you were watching the third part of the movie.
And you say it's infected half my former colleagues.
Gwen.
And Gwen. And our only hope is what? Alistair.
So guys, I'm going to stop here, and we'll go into the next game.
Destroy the city.
Okay guys, and here you have it. We have again, and as you can see my hand in real time, this is Captain America, the Super Soldier from Sega. I forgot who developed the game, but this is another game I wanted to compare because it borrows a lot of elements, both from Batman games from 360 era and PS3, and from the Spider-Man games. And the very different similarities with this game is that this is more as the same fighting style as Batman, because he's more of a hand-to-hand, grudging, fisticuff type of fighter. But he's super strong because he, again, the difference between Batman and Captain America, he is actually a superhero. He's a super soldier. He was, experimented on and turned into a super fighting machine that, survived a 70 or 100 year being frozen or something like that. I forgot exactly what the number was, and came back, and now he's in modern day. So this game takes place in the World War II era where he was in the first movie. And by all means, I'm going to make it very clear, this game nowhere near way, shape, or form has, in my opinion, the same type. And not just my opinion, it's pretty evident and factual. Doesn't have doesn't have the same type of production, right? The same type of production value as let's say the Spider-Man game does, or Batman. I'm just trying to show you guys that although it doesn't have the same production value, where it delivers is
Strength to fight against the forces of tyranny.
in the combat system. The combat system uses all the button layouts, and it's very smooth, very robust, and it's not dedicated just to one button the way that I said before and have argued before, like in Batman, that you keep pressing A, then it prompts you to press Y once you fill up your meter or you get to a certain type of distance or angle. This gives you more of the freedom of do it on the fly whenever you want. The music is very patriotic, so it's not that it's cheap. The voice acting is decent, very decent. It's not bad, even for Captain America himself. And graphically, it's not bad, but you can tell it's definitely not on the level, again, obviously, of a Batman or a Spider-Man.
What?
These were games that Marvel
These are glorified posters.
were trying to get made
Poses
when
for
they
pictures,
had a little bit of money. They weren't still
I don't
owned,
know.
I
I heard he
believe,
saved a bunch of guys.
or they just got owned by Disney and didn't have like a actual dedicated studio for their games. So they branched out 3 titles or 4 titles to Sega, for Sega to do it. And Sega did them with the best ability that they could as far as budgeting. See there, nice cutscene using the in-game engine, of course. And I believe the main villain in this one is Red Skull. The character models, like the clothing and the helmet and their face, has really nice detail to it. To be honest with you, you can't probably see it through the actual video, but if you're seeing it in real time like I am, you will see it. Definitely a game that I want it to be backwards compatible, because I think it'll benefit in many ways. Even if it had, especially if it had a 4K enhancement, it'd be great. And right here, it doesn't look the same as Batman, because this game has areas where it's closed in. It's more linear. It's not open world. It's more level based. But when you get into open, it has a very big similarity to Batman. He has some really awesome kill moves and very brutal things that you do later on as you go along. So essentially, Batman, Spider-Man, and even Captain America are basically beat-em-ups. They're 3D beat-em-ups, with other elements, of course. That's why, I gravitate to them and I really appreciate them for what they are, because I'm a beat-em-up enthusiast. See, as you see here, it's very linear right now. See, the dialogue, the voice acting is a little bit cheesy, but it serves its purpose. Pre-scripted, of course. It's fighting these soldiers. Believe it or not, it is fluid. It doesn't slow down, even though it may seem like it does.
I'm on it, Captain.
It's 30 frames, just like Batman and Spider-Man as well. I'm just trying to show you when you fight like one of the boss fights. So basically, the point with this is, again, you see that's pretty cool. It's cinematic, and it has the similar style of Batman, because it's fisticuffs, like I said, the combat, and he uses his shield, which is one of the only few weapons that I think he uses in the game. You could also use Gatling guns, I think, and grenades and things like that. But the production value is nowhere, like I said, it's not on the same level. But it does a good job for what it does, for what it has. I think it's an underrated game. A lot of people never really even tried it, because the Sega games from Marvel got really bad reviews last generation, so people probably just skipped and didn't take a chance.
He's a big one. He's gonna take everything I've got.
And the funny thing is that you'll notice, even though he has superpowers, when he does his flips and things like that, they're not exaggerated like the way they are in Batman. You don't see him going 50 miles away from the character he's at, or like 50 feet away or 20 feet away. I know I'm exaggerating, but you guys get what I'm saying. It's all still grounded to be realistic in that sense. Has decent lighting as well.
Since when does the enemy have
Shadow
organs like
casting.
this? They don't. Yet.
He's talking to Tony Stark's father, which was just referenced now. See, Marvel Entertainment and Sega presents. They show the symbol for Hydra, right? And again, this game is not based off the movie. It's like a timeline during the events that took place in Captain America 1. It's some other events that we did not see or got to play.
Captain Rogers, HQ's on the horn for
It's kind of funny because the introduction and the scene where you see the crawl of the title, and this part here is just like Metal Gear Solid, the new one, the Phantom Pain and enemy and Ground Zeroes. So here I believe you parachute down, I think it is, which is another cool little different dynamic to the gameplay. You know, Batman had 3 games before they even introduced his vehicle, where you could use his vehicle, which was introduced this generation, obviously. I bet pretty much more, due for the limitation of the hardware. That's actually my assistant's not moving. He was trying to do something with the controller. I was telling you what to do. I think you open the door and you pick up the dog. No, I think it's in the back. Oh, don't see it there. Okay. Also, I like the third-person perspective view, just like you see in the presentation with Spiderman and Batman. So it's similar like that as well. Pick up the back of the plane, it says. Go to it.
After years of planning and
I'm going to take a quick pause until this cutscene finishes. Here we go. He throws himself off the boat, or the boat rather, the airplane vehicle. It loads up. So he's falling. I thought it would have been cool if you can control it like you did in MDK and Ninja Blade, but they didn't put that in there, obviously. Pretty cool likeness of Chris Evans, I think. That's what they were going for. Just knock the guys out. Get them when they're on the ground. And it has a skill tree ability that you build up for the moves and what you could obtain. And again, I want to stress that this game is mainly
find a way to take out that gun.
level based, so it's very linear. So it does a good job with the details as well. You can hear the banging of the shield. You knock them out. Pick that up. See, here's the skill tree right here, right? With the upgrades.
Practice makes perfect.
Just like Spider-Man, and I believe just like Batman. Well, like Spider-Man, I know about Batman. And then it has this thing like Batman when he's trying to do the codex. You got to match the numbers together. There you go. And I do acknowledge that the game is slow paced in the beginning. This game actually picks up and becomes a lot better as you go further along in the game. You can throw your shield. It's kind of like the tutorial still. Anyway, I just think that by demonstrating this, I was able to show you what I like, don't like, see how you have the quick time events, and right now, which uses his acrobatic abilities.
It's close. I should find a radio coordinator.
How did he get in? I see no sign of a parachute.
So like I was saying, I just wanted to show you guys kind of like the compare and contrast based on the combat system of each individual game, the production value of each individual game, and the fact that they have some grounded things that are grounded on reality that's very similar, but at the same time, some things that that Batman offers are shouldn't be there in my opinion, because the fact that the game is a high quality game, they should know that it should pay attention to those little gripes and details that I have, because it is a higher quality game. But I understand it's still a video game at the end of the day. But this is just to show the argument that I've had, and not really argument, just discussion with people that disagree with me, saying no, I don't know what I'm talking about, or that no, they don't have similarities, when in fact they do, in a lot of different ways. And they're all superhero games. That's the first and foremost thing, and they're all from last generation that started. Except that two are open world, and one is more level based and linear. But they get the job done and serve their purposes. And this one you pick up a lot of items and do decoding of things, kind of like to open up doors. So he uses his gadgets the way that we know he does, like the shield, and the combat is very fisticuff,
There's a radio up there.
like I said before. So guys, anyway, I'm going to
Strong enough.
end it here. Thank you for sticking with the video and to this long and this far. I hope you like it. I hope you understand what I'm trying to present in real time. Again, this is not me trying to throw any direct shade at anyone. It's just basically to prove the argument that I've been trying to discuss with people that I've had the discussion with for a long time with in a video, because I've never really done it. So by showing you, like I said in the beginning introduction of the video, I think it's the most effective way and the best way, because you can't fake what's going on in real time and scripted on a video. And I'm not using like no editing program or nothing like that. I'm just pausing and continuing on once I get to the sections that I want in the game, so you can see, and to constrict time. Thank you for joining me. Until the next video, like it, comment, share it if you please. Do me the favor, because I know you don't have to, and for those who do, thank you very much, and I'm very grateful because I know you don't have to. And big shout outs to all my brethrens out there, like Dorian Bumpus, New Legal, aka from the DirectX Mansion and DirectX and show, and the Infinite Rooms of DX Mansion, Mr. 100 at Intro Media, my gang and family at the DirectX minus the fraud, Microbots of X in the Micropod podcast from my boys in the UK. UK Daz, Chief, Mert, Tuck, Tuck Master, Big Kahuna, E-Rock, Sega Forever, Sega Man, Poseidon Naru, Megatron. All the people that just rock out with me and enjoy what I do and respect what I do and respect my thoughts, my opinions, and what I try to bring to the YouTube community as far as gaming. And you see here the cinematic moments as well are very similar to Batman, and you could use also environments that are around you, surrounding you, like some of the furniture, around. Yeah, guys, thank you so much again. Love you very much, and see you soon, okay? Let me know what you think down in the comments. Bye-bye, guys.